No, God, look beautiful. You're not filming, are you?
Yes.
William Gilbert W.G. Grace was born the 18th of July, 1848, and died the 23rd of October, 1915. Was an English amateur cricketer who is widely acknowledged as one of the greatest players of all time, and who was important in the development of the sport. Universally known as WG, he played first-class cricket for a record equaling 44 seasons, from 1855 to 1908, during which he captained England, Gloucestershire County Cricket Club, the Gentlemen, the United South of England 11, and several other teams. He came from a cricketing family. The appearance in 1880 of W.G. with E.M.G. Grace, one of his elder brothers, and Fred Grace, his younger brother, was the first time three brothers played together as in Test cricket. Right-handed as both batsman and bowler, Grace dominated the sport during his career. His technical innovations... What, did it cut?
No.
His technical innovations and enormous influence left a lasting legacy. An outstanding all-rounder, he excelled at the essential skills of battling, bowling, and fielding. But it is for his battling that he was most renowned. Oh, it's not battling, it's batting, sorry guys. That he is most renowned. He is held to have invented modern batsmanship. Usually opening the innings, he was particularly admired for his mastery of all strokes, and his level of expertise was said by contemporary reviewers to be unique. He generally captained teams and he played at all levels because of his skill and technical acumen. Grace qualified as a medical practitioner in 1879. Because of his medical profession, he was nominally an amateur cricketer, but he is said to have made more money for his cricketing activities than any professional cricketer. He was an extremely competitive player, and although he was one of the most famous men in England, he was also one of the most controversial on account of his business and his financial acumen. He took part in other sports and was the champion of the 440-yard hurl. As a young man, he also played football for the Wanderers. In later life, he developed enthusiasm for golf, lawn bowls, and curling. Now, Jeff is going to talk about the Grace family.
W.G. Grace was born in Darwin on 18th July 1848 at his parents' home, Darwin House, and was baptized at the local church on the 8th of August. He was called Gilbert in the family circle, except by his mother who called him Willie. But elsewhere, he was universally known by his initials as W.G. His parents were Henry Mills Grace and Martha née Pocock, who were married in Bristol on Thursday, 3rd November 1831, and lived out their lives in Downend, where Henry Grace was local GP. Downend is near Maggots Field, and although it is now a suburb of Bristol, it was then a district village surrounded by countryside, and about 4 miles from Bristol. Henry and Martha Grace had 9 children in all, the same number as Victoria and Albert, and in every respect they were the typical Victorian family. Grace was the 8th child in family. He had 3 older brothers, including E.M., and 4 older sisters. Only Fred, born in 1850, was younger than W.G. Grace began his cricketing reminiscence 1899 by answering a question he had frequently been asked: was he born a cricketer? His answer was a negative because he believed that cricketers are more made by coaching and practice, though he adds that if he was not born a cricketer, he was born in an atmosphere of cricket. His father and mother were full of enthusiasm for the game, and it was a common theme of conversation at home. In 1850, when W.G. was 2 and Fred was expected, the family moved to a nearby house called the Chestnuts, which had a sizable orchard, and Henry Grace organized clearances of this to establish a practice pitch that was to become a famous thought throughout the world of cricket. All 9 children in the Grace family, including the 4 daughters, were encouraged to play cricket, although the girls, along with the dogs, were required for fielding only. Grace claimed that he first handled a cricket bat at the age of 2. It was in Downend Orchard, and as a member of their local cricket clubs, that he and his brother developed their skills, mainly under the tutelage of his great uncle Alfred Pocock, who was an exceptional coach. Apart from his cricket and his schooling, Grace lived in the life of a country boy and roamed freely with other village boys. One of his regular activities was stone throwing at birds in the fields, and he later claimed that this was the source of an eventual skill as an outfielder. Grace was notoriously unscholarly. He stopped schooling with a Miss Trotman in Downend Village, and then with Mr. Curtis of Winterburg. He subsequently attended a day school called Rudgeway House, run by Mr. Malpaz, until he was 14. One of his schoolmasters, David Barnard, later married Grace's sister, Alice. In 1863, Grace was taken seriously ill with pneumonia, and his father removed him from the Rudgeway House. After this illness, Grace grew rapidly to his full height of 6 feet 2 inches. He continued his education at home, where one of his tutors was Reverend John Dan, who was a Downend Parish Church curate. Like Mr. Barnard before him, Mr. Down became Grace's brother-in-law, marrying Blanche Grace in 1869. Grace never went to university, as his father was innocent upon him pursuing a medical career, but Grace was approached by both Oxford University Cricket Club and Cambridge University Cricket Club. In 1866, when he played a match at Oxford,